Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on April 22nd, 2013, picking up right where we left off in the last episode. And what we're working on in this chapter is getting end-to-end smoke tests of our WeWikiPaint application. We need to demonstrate that our application actually works when the user draws on the screen. So it's not enough that we get the page, we actually need to prove that you can draw on it and see it work. And we've gotten a good ways along on that. In the last episode, we just finished incorporating Phantom.js into our automated build. And so now we have our smoke test actually running Phantom.js, which is a headless browser, in our code and drawing on the Phantom.js page. And that's really cool. What we don't have yet is we don't have an automated check that that drawing was done correctly. So that's what I'd like to do next in this episode, is get that working. Looking at our to-dos, we have integrated Phantom.js into our smoke test. Now, what I'd like to do is factor out our Raphael line segment test code. So in our test, what we're going to do here is we're going to basically run the page and then run some code in the browser. And in that in-browser code, we're going to emulate the user drawing on the page. And then we need to check that they have done so. How do we do that is the question. Well, we can look at the DOM and find out, but the problem is actually understanding what's going on in the DOM is a bit complicated. Luckily, I think we can use the same code that we use in our client test here. We have all this SVG, VML, Path4, browser stuff, line segments code here that is exactly what we need. The problem is it's not accessible to our Phantom.js code. So what I want to do is factor this code out of here and this line drawing code out of here and put them both into a Raphael module that will be accessible to our Phantom.js code. So this is going to be extending some of the object-oriented refactoring that we were doing in a few chapters ago. Before we do that, I think I'm going to take out all this various console log stuff and just clean things up a bit. I don't like my builds to output more than they need to. And I think in our smoke test, we can take this part out as well. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go back to our client-side code and just really quickly, well, as quickly as we can, factor out our Raphael module. Now, the way to do this, I think what I'd like to do is make we could call it Raphael, but that's not really, that's the implementation detail. The abstraction is, I guess we have a drawing area. Now, client.js is the one that actually does the drawing. So maybe it's not so much a drawing area as a SvgCanvas. Well, yeah, let's call it SvgCanvas for lack of a better term. So we can start out by making a SvgCanvas here, and we draw a line needs to be factored into there. That's pretty straightforward. I was going to say that should work, but as usual, linting issues. Oh, and paper. We need a paper. Yeah. Well, let's make this an object, just like we did with HTML element, and pass the paper in that way. So we'll follow this pattern here. Call it SvgCanvas. And we'll pass in the HTML element that we're going to operate on. And we'll also need to set up our module, which we're going to do more rigorously at some point in the future. And now let's see. We'll need this code here. I'm hacking a bit, but it'll all come along. All right. There. This really needs to be fixed. I'll put that in our to-do. Yeah, that's really nasty. We'll fix that. No fear. Okay, that is a bit bigger of a step than perhaps I should have taken. So I'm not sure if this is going to work. Let me just fix this. SvgCanvas.prototype.draw line. Now it's all working still, but that is only because we're not using it. Let's see what happens when we actually try to use it. I'm going to make an SvgCanvas and just see what happens. That still doesn't do anything. Hopefully it'll work. It does. Excellent. And then here, maybe we can say SvgCanvas.drawLine. Start X. All right, fingers crossed. I have no idea if this is going to work. No, that does not work. Does not come anywhere close to working. That is a disaster. All right, what am I doing wrong? Well, what if we return SvgCanvas.paper? Hey, that was that. Okay, good. Now, what we need to do is we need to eliminate that breaking of encapsulation. We'll get there. The important thing here, though, is that we do have this working now, which means that we should be able to inline this, which is cool. And let's see. Let's go ahead and replace paper with SvgCanvas. I'll bet you we can. By the way, this client.js, it's probably an object as well. But we will do that at some point in the future when we really need to. There. Everything's working. Oh, now our smoke test is failing. When did that happen? Huh. Oh, isn't that awesome? Oh, cool. Our smoke test failed because we're not including SvgCanvas in our HTML file. Now, we don't have it failing properly yet in that it's not returning an error code, but it is giving us some error. And that is great. I'm really happy about that. So we should be able to fix that because that's what, that proves that it proves that our smoke test is doing what it's supposed to. So we should be able to fix that by doing this. No. Oh, well, that's because I gave it the wrong name. I had an underscore in front. Let's try that again. Excellent. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so this is getting us, I mean, that is exactly what the smoke test is for. Now, it should have failed, but we haven't done that yet. But catching that kind of error on the client side is exactly what it's for. So I'm really happy to have seen that happen. Let's go ahead and check this in, and then we'll move on to getting the test included. All right, now that we've got our SvgCanvas sort of basically working, let's go ahead and see if we can pull over the test code as well. What I'd like to be able to do, not this one, what I'd like to be able to do is take this line segments code and move it over. So I'm going to start by I'm going to take perhaps a little bit bigger of a step than I really should, but this is fairly straightforward, so I think it'll work. I'm going to just copy this over and then see if I can have this export line segments. So we'll loop through each element in the paper, and then that should work. So far, so good. Missing semicolon as usual. This should work just because we're not using it yet. But now, if we go into client test and we comment this out and instead return, well, I guess we need the SvgCanvas, so we can't return it yet. Let's have client, instead of returning SvgCanvas.paper, let's just have it return SvgCanvas. That's failing, not a big deal, because here we're expecting that. I think that will work. Yes. Now, where do we use paper? We do use it here with our dimensions, so we're probably going to have to expose some functions to repeat that. But other than that, I think we're on track here. So I pulled out that SvgCanvas variable. Should all still work. Yes, good. And now here in our line segments, we should be able to say return SvgCanvas.line segments. Fingers crossed that should work. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Which means that now we can get rid of all of this other code. It's nicely encapsulated in our SvgCanvas. And I think I'll leave line segments as is just because it's a bit of convenience. I'm not going to inline it because it's a bit of a convenience for all of these spec statements that use it over and over again. But other than that, I think it's pretty clean. All right. So we've done the first part of extracting out SvgCanvas. That was pretty easy. Next, what we need to do is we just need to finish cleaning it up. We've got to fix this encapsulation breaking here. I think we can do that just by getting rid of paper height or putting in a paper height and paper width. And we need to fix this encapsulation breaking here. And then we should be done. So that's what we'll do next time. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will catch you next time.